Hey guys, SmallmouthCrush. I got an unboxing video of a couple big boxes here, straight from Beast Coast. We're going to go through the tackle that I'm using from Beast Coast this season. It's all coming up. All right, let's start. We got a lot of stuff coming in, a lot of things to sort through. Well, he sent me a nice t-shirt. Let's see if he sent me the right size. Extra large? A little big. They do have some awesome merchandise over there. Great graphics. I don't know if you can see that well. That's legit. I like it. Thanks, Derek. We'll start out with some Seduce minnows I see here. I use these quite a bit when I'm shaking a minnow. I used them a lot in the last couple of weeks out here on the St. Lawrence River and Lake Ontario. Couple key colors I really love, and these are the 3.8 Seduce forward-facing sonar minnows. The 3.8 natural violet, electric brown, and Tennessee shad. Those are my three main colors that I throw, and so we stocked up on a bunch of those. I did get some of the larger sizes, the 5.25 and natural violet, Tennessee shad. The deal is with the bigger baits, it really depends on what those fish are reacting to. A lot of times I'm going to start out with the 3.8, and if I have to upgrade, I will. Sometimes you can get a bigger bite, but honestly, if I see a fish out there, I can get that 3.8 down there. I can typically get them to bite. And head sizes varies. Normally, if I can get away with it, 3/16, a quarter. We'll go up to a 3/8 at times, but it really depends on the depth of those fish. If you can get away with the lightest jig head possible, that's what I would suggest if you're going to throw these minnows. Okay, I got a lot of packs of these. These are the Beast Coast Sled. Too much. But there's the Sled. I've talked about this in some of my previous videos. What's nice about this is actually designed for a swim bait, and I will throw swim baits on this as well. But I also found that any type of Ned rig, I got one sitting here, any type of Ned rig that you can fit on those, and you're dragging on the bottom, it really does come through the rocks a little bit easier than other jig heads. Superior hook, and this thing, I love these. I fish a lot of nasty structure, a lot of rock, and these things definitely come in handy when I'm doing that. So they come in two different hook sizes, 1/0 and 2, and it just varies based on the bait that I'm going to use. All right, looks like I have a lot of the swim jigs. The Workingman's Compact Finesse Swim Jig here. And I love these. I love throwing swim jigs. I don't use them a whole lot, but when I do, it's a lot of times it's in open water. So I could fish this thing in 10 feet or less, or 30 feet or 20 to 30 feet. I'll fish them deep, I'll fish them shallow. There's two different sizes, the quarter, and I believe this is a 5/16. I like the 5/16 ounce chartreuse and white. And the deal is here, I like to use just some sort of twin tail grub or a single tail grub on the back of my swim jig. And I'm just basically casting out. You can work it slow, medium, you can burn it. There's a lot of different ways to fish it. But for me specifically up here, it's pretty much casting around shallow grass, rock, any of the humps, a high spot on the hump, and you're just making 5, 6, 7 casts through a quick area just to see if you can get a reaction bite from a fish as far as smallmouth goes. We got a lot of largemouth up here as well, and although this color, I will throw a green pumpkin type of color for smallmouth. If I'm going to start out, it's always going to be a chartreuse and white or just a straight white swim jig. This one's called Pro Pumpkin. It has a little bit of glitter on it. I actually take that off of it, so it's just a straight green pumpkin. Just what I prefer, but it does have some great color contrast. Definitely try keeping it intact the way it is first. See how you like it, and if you want to take the tinsel out, the glitter, you can remove a few of those strands and make it just a straight green pumpkin. That's what I do a lot of times. All right, I also got a couple of the jig heads that we use with that minnow. You can see that jig head is really got a lot of thought into this as far as the line tie placement, as well as where the lead's positioned on that. That's supposed to fit perfectly into the Seduce minnow. Give it a great swimming action. It's an amazing hook, and definitely able to shake that bait through the water column really effectively with that. And it shows up really nice on your forward-facing sonar if you are tracking that bait with that technology. Definitely give these a try if you're going to try the Seduce minnow or any of your favorite minnows that you like to shake. I would definitely recommend that head from Beast Coast. And all the links are going to be down in the description below for these baits. Obviously, the Beast Coast Open Water Sniper is another amazing jig. Probably one of my favorite jigs out there. I designed the jig years ago. It's the #1 selling finesse football jig out there right now, and it has been for years. It is the true finesse. There's a lot of companies coming out, copycats, and that's fine. But this thing is premium made. It's perfect. I wouldn't make any changes with them. I catch thousands of fish a year on it. It's always tied on. It's always ready to go. I'll fish it shallow. I'll fish it deep. I'll drag it with the current. I'll drag it with the wind. I'll make casts to specific targets. I'll cast to individual bass. And it's all about the time of year and how they're feeling. I'm going to give you guys a couple tips. So early season, we just got the early season just ended here, and the water temps were still very cold. When I found fish on, say, a piece of structure, let's say it was on a rock, there was a fish on a rock, I would take that sniper jig and I would cast past the rock and make sure that bait's already on the bottom before it even gets to that fish. You want to drag these jigs on the bottom and keep them on the bottom. And you kind of vary your retrieve. I'll do a lot of dragging with my wrist, shaking on slack line, pausing it, dead sticking it for a little while, moving it, then maybe a little bit faster, and then a dead stick. You just have to really try to figure out how to trigger that bite. And this time of year, those fish really don't want something dropped right on their head. And they seem to want that jig to come to them on the bottom. Kind of sneak up on them, if you will. In the summer, as they move offshore after spawn, you definitely can take a 1/4 ounce or a 3/8 ounce sniper jig, see a fish out there, throw it over to it, and that time of year, they'll come up to it and oftentimes grab it before it even hits the bottom. And you don't have to be as precise with getting that bait down on the bottom. But you still can work that bait back on the bottom as you should. You can then incorporate some hops in it, but less is better most of the time. A lot of times, I'm just going to throw that bait 5 feet past the fish. Oftentimes, they're going to see it. They're going to investigate it. I get more bites on a sniper jig when I see fish on my electronics than I do with any other bait most of the time. And every year is a little different. Every presentation, it seems like every school may want a different presentation. Every fish that's located in a certain region of your body of water that you're fishing may prefer that. It really, you just have to kind of feel out that school and what they want for that particular day. But I got a lot of my standard colors: Mothman, Sexy Melon, 1/4 ounce, 3/8, and 1/2 ounce. My 1/2 ounce are strictly for dragging. It's when I'm dragging in heavy current, whether I be in 15 feet of water or 40, that's the perfect size for dragging a sniper jig through there. A 1/4 ounce, so on the lighter side, that's going to be used when I have calmer conditions, fishing deep, or if I'm up shallow, say 10 feet or less, and I'm pitching the structure or fish. 1/4 ounce is perfect. And if I can get away with a 1/4 ounce in 20 to 30 feet of water, I'm going to do it. A lot of times we have a lot of wave action. We got a lot of wind. Sometimes it's hard to get a good feel for that. So the 3/8 ounce is my next favorite choice. I always have 2 rods set up with a sniper jig when I'm offshore during the summer months. One's going to have a 3/8, one's going to have a 1/4. I wish I could tell you why my phone always rings. All right, that was just Cape Way Kent. Anyways, if I can get away with that 1/4 ounce in deep water, I will, but most of the time the 3/8 ounce works great. I did send in a request for another color that I actually designed this color as well back in the day, and really haven't thrown it too much, and I don't really talk about it a whole lot. But the melon color, there's the melon color. I have a lot of luck with this color on my soft plastics, and believe me, this color works. I just try to keep things simple, but this year I decided to add a little bit more in my arsenal, and I'll probably rotate between the sexy melon and just the straight melon color this year. So smallmouth in clear water, especially by me and all the Great Lakes really, and I'm sure a lot of the inland lakes, they love black, straight black. I don't care if it's a cloudy day or a sunny day, they just gravitate to that color. It's always been a great color to use. And so I'm always going to have a straight black Mothman, it's called, with some sort of black trailer. And you guys know a lot of times I like a straight Ned on my jigs. I'll use a craw. I'll use different variations of craws. I'll use twin tail grubs. But 80% of the time, a Ned rig. Now, if you're not using a Ned and you're using something else, you'll still get bit. And there's a lot of times they're feeding on little baby crayfish down there, more than you think. I know everyone thinks gobies, but there's a lot of crayfish in the system, depending on where you're at, what bays you're in, things like that. And they feed heavily on those as well. And so sometimes putting a craw in does make sense. And there's a lot of different ones. And I'll be doing videos throughout the year specifically about it. Real quick, since I'm talking about that jig and how important it is in my arsenal, I want to tell you my setup. So a lot of times I'm just using a medium rod. So not really a medium light, just a medium for a 1/4 ounce through 3/8. And I like braid. I like 8-pound braid on my jig rods. And I'm going to use a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader or an 8-pound. 8-pound is going to be when I feel like I need to be a little bit more finessey. And that's normally going to only be a 1/4 ounce jig. Everything else gets 10-pound regardless. And then if I'm dragging the 1/2 ounce, I'll go up to 14 or 16-pound fluorocarbon leader. We hit a lot of stuff, a lot of zebra mussels, as Eric would say, razor clams, boulders, chunk rock, all that. It's nasty down there. We're grinding the bottom constantly. I drag miles and miles and miles a week, and you're definitely going to have some weak spots in your line from going over that stuff. So I like to bump it up 14, 15, 16-pound fluorocarbon when I am dragging. I've gotten away with 10. You can do it. There's times where I'll see some fish and I'm casting to them, and I know that dragging through that school will be a little bit more efficient, and I may not want to retie it or grab another rod out, and I'll just throw that 3/8 ounce and drag it through with 10, and it'll work, but eventually you're going to lose those. So I would step up the leader a little bit. Well, it looks like I got a few more t-shirts. You can never have enough t-shirts or hoodies. Very cool stuff. Listen, I love Beast Coast products. They fill a really specific niche for a lot of my fishing. If you haven't used their baits, I encourage you to check them out. This was just a small selection of the stuff that they have. They have some really great plastics, great trailers for chatterbaits, other swim baits, and I make videos throughout the year about that. But this is what came in this box today. If you want to find out more about that, you can check out the description. Go down to those links through Tackle Warehouse or straight on to the Beast Coast Fishing website and take a look at all the products that they do have. Now, one thing I want to also mention, tungstens, and we've talked about this on my live shows, tungsten is getting very, very expensive. It's almost pricing out a lot of the jigs on the market. Like, nobody wants to pay $15 for a jig that you're going to lose that day. I've been switching over and I've been using the lead. You know, we came out with a lead version shortly after the tungsten version, and I don't have a single problem using the lead version, even in a tournament setting. I have no problem throwing the L Metal series. It's going to be priced a lot less in the future than the tungsten. all your tungstens. This isn't Beast Coast specific. All your tungsten products will be going up if they haven't already. So it's just something to keep in mind. I almost ended this video without talking about a few other baits here that are really important. So the sniper jig is amazing, but it doesn't have a weed guard, which most of the time doesn't bother me. However, there's times in specific lakes and some inland lakes around here where I'm fishing in some heavy grass, and having that little weed guard on that finesse football head is going to help you come through that grass a little bit better. You're still going to have to flick it off on your retrieve if you get caught up in it. A lot of times that's actually going to draw a bite, especially if you can get it clean. So depending on the type of grass you have, a lot of times you can work a bait, and even though you're going to get stuck or hung up in that grass, you can flick it and have it come off and come through clean. And that's what I love about this. So these are the baby dozers, they're called. It's something I haven't had access to in the past. And so last year, Derek and I fished together, and he was using the dozer in the same areas that I used the sniper, and we really got the same bites. He actually caught a couple 7-pounders on it. But for my situation, if I'm getting in some real snaggy chunk rock or some heavy grass, that weed guard's going to definitely help. Most of the time, if I can get away with it, I want no weed guard. So I'm still going to try, but if I can't, if I'm just getting hung up too many times or getting in that thick grass too many times, I'm going to switch over to these, and that's just going to help increase my odds while I'm out there. We also got some of their little Magnums. So these are their compact flip-in jig. Black and blue, green pumpkin. I don't do a lot of flipping, but when I do, this is the jig of choice for me. It's just very compact, great fish catching colors, superior hook on that. Just a nice compact flipping jig. A lot of great largemouth up here doing it. And certain times, we'll get in areas where the smallmouth, especially this time of year, are going to get up real shallow and use the bank a lot. And there's some down timber, some wood. This is a great little jig to flip in there as well. And I would use some sort of craw trailer on those jigs. All right, quick video. That's about all I got. Now I got to sort everything and put everything where it belongs. That's a process in itself. I always double, triple, quadruple bag things. These are all my sleds already put in there. I just like to have everything really nice and organized and labeled. So when I have to replenish my boat, I know exactly where it is, as well as when I'm out fishing, I know exactly where all these baits are and what sizes. And I'm going to make another video, and I'll explain throughout the year on how I organize my tackle as well, because it's one of my favorite things about fishing is the tackle organization and just putzing around with your gear in the boat. Let me know what you think of the video. Leave any comments. If you haven't tried Beast Coast, I encourage you to. And as always, until next time, we'll see you guys on the water.